It looks to me like a rigged election.
It's a rigged system, folks. It's a rigged system.
The election is rigged. The rigged system.
Well, I guess Donald Trump believes this election is rigged as more sexual assault accusers come forward. Also, his poll numbers are collapsing. Again, he is attacking the election system, even leading Republicans to say he is doing damage to democracy. Trump says the system is rigged in favor of his opponent, Hillary Clinton. Of course, that claim is getting strong pushback from House Speaker Paul Ryan, who says the states will carry out the election with integrity. And even Trump's own running mate, Governor Mike Pence of Indiana, says they will live with the outcome of the election.
We will absolutely accept the results of the election. Look, the American people will speak in an election that will culminate on November the 8th.
Cries of a rigged election are not overshadowing his alleged treatment of women that's being called into question since audio tapes surfaced from an Access Hollywood bus in 2005. Actually, that was a videotape. As many as 9 women are now accusing Trump of sexual misconduct. Among them, Summer Zervos, a woman who appeared on Trump's reality show, The Apprentice.
I pushed his chest to put space between us, and I said, "Come on, man, get real." He repeated my words back to me, "Get real," as he began thrusting his genitals. He tried to kiss me again with my hand still on his chest, and I said, "Dude, you're tripping right now," attempting to make it clear I was not interested. After hearing the released audio tapes and your denials during the debate, I felt I had to speak out about your behavior. You do not have the right to treat women as such. You do not have the right to treat women as sexual objects just because you are a star.
Since that news conference, Trump has denied the accusations, saying he respects women. His campaign has responded to the latest claims by pointing out Zervos sent an email this year praising Trump. A portion says, quote, "Embrace anyone who is honest. Mr. Trump is cut from the same cloth." Trump is now turning his attention to Hillary Clinton. It says the media is not digging hard enough into Clinton's email controversy or the Clinton Foundation's alleged ties to Russia. He is now insinuating Clinton is even taking drugs and was doped up during last Sunday's debate.
I think she's actually getting pumped up. I think we should take a drug test prior to the debate. I do. I think we should. Why don't we do that? We should take a drug test prior, because I don't know what's going on with her.
Now you also have Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark Jr., one of Trump's most vocal supporters, even stirring the rigged conspiracy pot. Sheriff Clark is drawing controversy for a tweet in response to people complaining about corruption in the White House in the election. This is what he sent out, a stock photo of what appears to be a mob of angry men and women carrying pitchforks, torches, and clubs. He wrote, quote, "It's incredible that our institutions of government, White House, Congress, and Department of Justice, and big media are corrupt, and all we do is bleep, pitchforks, and torches time." He also called on the media, tweeted, "All Trump supporters, let's not your hearts be troubled. Big media knows that our day is coming. Stay strong." All right, then. Tim Kaine, Clinton's running mate, says Trump is blaming Clinton, the media, and an unsupportive GOP leadership because he's desperate.
He's saying that America can't run a fair election. He is swinging at every phantom of his own imagination because he knows he's losing.
All right, folks. Clinton campaign dealing with another release of WikiLeaks of stolen documents, including transcripts of some of her speeches to Goldman Sachs. WikiLeaks says the documents are from John Podesta's email account. The Clinton campaign, they have not confirmed any of the emails, saying that Russia's behind the hack. They also say Clinton was having a good time with various Wall Street executives, and also allegations the Clinton Foundation was receiving a pay-to-play when it comes to other countries as well. Folks, all right, let's get right to it with our panel right here, folks. Joining us right now in studio, we have Spencer Overton, who is the president and CEO of the Joint Center for Political and Economic Studies. Dolores Ray is African-American Outreach Coordinator for Fairfax for Trump. Dr. Jason Johnson, a columnist, analyst, and political editor for The Root. All right, folks, look at the new polling data. Bottom line is it's showing ABC Wall Street Journal poll says it's 4 points, 4 points in terms of Hillary Clinton lead. ABC Washington Post, NBC Wall Street Journal shows a much larger lead. Bottom line is this here. Jason, I'll start with you. When you see Trump saying rigged, 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 this is the same guy, though, who was touting every single poll when he was leading. This sounds like somebody who's preparing for a loss in 3 weeks.
Yeah. The refs took the game from me. My headphones weren't working. He's setting up all these excuses, and he's promoting violence. And there's some even deeper to this, Roland. It's also demonstrating his break with the Republican Party. How about all these Republican governors of blue states who are the ones who are administering the polls? So he's saying that John Kasich and Scott Walker and all these Republican governors are somehow working with Hillary Clinton to conspire against him. This is dangerous speech, but it's par for the course for Donald Trump. And I think we should really, really focus on the fact that this guy is basically saying, no matter what happens, I'm going to keep fighting on.
I mean, really, this legitimacy claim we saw with the president in terms of this birther issue, right? We see it in terms of barriers to voting. Let's erect barriers to voting because we question this legitimacy piece. It's, I think, a standard claim that is made that's, you know, just a political claim.
Dolores, to watch this, and you have Republicans who are already condemning Trump, saying, how dare you cast doubt on an election process? How does this somehow help him and help democracy?
Well, let's start off with a bit of truth. Being part Latino, I know for a fact that you can go and get absentee ballots right now and get people who are not Americans to fill out the forms, or you can fill it out for them and send the absentee ballots in. So even though we have governors from various and sundry states, from blue states and red states who are looking at the election, there's still a problem here. Yes, there can be a rigged system. In fact, we know for a fact that dead people have been voting and on the roll.
So now, folks in Georgia pushed photo ID at the polls, but not with absentee. So you talk about fraud in terms of absentee, but you know these ID laws are going up at the polls where there's no evidence of fraud.
Well, absolutely, there's fraud going on and all over the country.
Where?
I'm not saying.
No, Dolores. Where?
From my understanding, it is just about everywhere.
No. Dolores.
I can say
hold up. On this show, what you cannot do, whether you're Republican or Democrat, is come on here, throw something out, and don't have the facts.
Well,
I'm going to ask you again. Where?
In Chicago, we already know that there have been dead people who have voted.
In Chicago?
Yes, in Chicago. Yes, we already know that there has in the past been dead people who have voted.
Dolores, you just said in the past. When?
The last election.
The last election.
And Chicago has a history of it. Chicago has a history
you were
of
talking
voting.
about Dolores, we are
too.
talking about the 2006 in Pennsylvania. You mean the exact same state? You mean the exact same state where they passed the voter ID law, where the head Republicans said?
Are you trying to say there are no people, dead people on the rolls who have voted?
What I'm trying to say, Dolores, is what you're doing is nonsensical and it is ridiculous. And the fact of the matter is,
Are you trying to say that the elections in this country, that there has never been is this here. You have a process, Dolores. Dolores, you have a process right now. Dolores, you have a process right now where you have folks who actually verify the State Board of Elections. You have Republicans right now. You have people like Jeff Flake in Arizona who are saying what Donald Trump is doing is wrong. You have Republicans who are election law experts who are saying the allegations that he is throwing out is shameful and despicable in this country. Now, again, Dolores, I'm asking you, trying to say that there is absolutely no corruption, there is no problems in our voting system?
What I'm saying is here, Jason, is that we have a system where people have been caught, folks have actually been arrested, folks have actually been charged and convicted who have engaged in voter fraud. Right. And what I'm saying is in Indiana, where you have where they raided an office, largely African Americans registered people to vote, because they said there were 10 supposed ballots that were faulty, so they grabbed all 45,000.
Or the 52 out of 36,000 that they did in Georgia, or all the other places this has happened. Dolores, see, here's the point, and this is the political science hat, right? I am a political science professor. I study these kinds of things. There is a difference between discrepancies in a voting system and a rigged system. That's the same thing as saying, because occasionally people shoplift at the grocery store, that everybody has this massive raid and we're doing a smash and grab at every giant eagle, okay? What Donald Trump is saying is that the entire election system, Republicans, Democrats, independents, and entire state governments are conspiring to prevent him from winning. That is fundamentally different than to say that there have been occasional absentee ballot problems, or let's go further back in the 2004 presidential election where you had all these black ballot voting issues, where you had literally voting machines that were created and bought by companies that were giving money to George Bush that were making voting machines. We've had problems, but to say it's a rigged system is completely different.
There are parts of our electric and our electric system and our election system that does have problem.
Dolores, the man is saying the whole country. Dolores, he is saying the whole country.
You're trying to say that there's you're using it as a discrepancy, and we see it as a problem.
Oh my God.
Between a conspiracy and a discrepancy. There's a difference between a conspiracy and a discrepancy. I can be speeding, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm drag racing. I can have shoplifting, and it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a burglar. I can have several different circumstances where you have mistakes here and there, and it doesn't mean our entire system is rigged. And what that actually means for our country as a whole is fundamentally dangerous when you have a candidate who refuses to acknowledge the system that he has sworn to protect if he actually becomes elected President of the United States of America. And 9 times out of 10, that's happened because of voter ID.
Hold on, so I'm sorry. So
there has been a rigged system in this country in terms of voting for many, many years. We've actually had to have black people stand there and recite the Constitution in the South before they could actually vote.
I'm glad you brought that up, Dolores. Dolores, when have you condemned the voter suppression in North Carolina?
All the time. I don't think we should be suppressing the vote.
Dolores, Dolores, one second. Dolores, Dolores, I'm asking you a question. Dolores, I will let you finish after I ask a question.
You answer the question.
Matter of fact, has your candidate, Donald Trump, condemned the voter suppression of Republicans in North Carolina? Yes or no?
I can't answer that.
Okay.
I'm not sure of Donald Trump. I can't speak for Mr. Trump.
Okay.
I can speak for me.
So Dolores. Okay, so Dolores, have you sent word to Donald Trump campaign that they should condemn the massive voter suppression in North Carolina?
What do you mean by voter suppression? Define it for me.
Dolores, I got this. A 3-judge federal panel said Republicans in North Carolina had a laser-like focus on targeting black voters. They said they specifically asked for how many black people voted in the first week, how many black people who voted on Sundays. They said it was a laser-like targeting. They got rid of Sunday voting. They cut early voting. They cut the hours. Federal judges said laser-like focus targeting black voters in North Carolina by the Republican House, by the Republican Senate, by the Republican governor. There is your evidence.
Evidence in terms of, okay, in my view, you're saying that black people don't, or people in general, don't need to have a license.
No, I didn't mention voter ID. Excuse me, Dolores. I did not mention voter ID. Dolores, it was considered the federal. Dolores, hold up. You brought up Jim Crow.
What you're saying.
Dolores, 1 second.
People, in order to get a welfare check, you have to have voter
did you bring
ID.
up Jim Crow? Did you bring up Jim Crow?
I'm not bringing up Jim Crow.
No. You said black people had to recite the Constitution, right?
That
was during Jim Crow.
Did.
The same.
South,
Dolores.
There was a rigged system.
Dolores, the same. You're right. And guess what? North Carolina is still in the South. The same 3 federal judges, Dolores, said this. We have not seen this level of voter suppression since the Jim Crow days. That was in North Carolina by your party, people who are backing down Trump. Why won't you own up to what the federal judges said?
Why won't you own up to the fact that they have to have a hold on, let me finish my
Dolores,
sentence.
go ahead.
Let me finish my sentence. To have voter ID, no matter where you are in this country, and to do anything, you have to have it. So why can't you have voter ID?
Because here's what you don't understand, because we saw in Wisconsin, same Republican Governor Scott Walker, where they were dragging their feet on actually processing even the applications for voter ID when people even applied for it.
Listen, in order for you to get a welfare check, you have to have a voter ID.
You just missed what I said.
Food stamps,
Dolores,
you have to have an ID.
you just missed what I said.
In Wisconsin, you have to have an ID.
In Wisconsin, where they have voter ID, they were not even processing the applications. Gloria, stop defending voter suppression. When we come back, we got our headlines. Later in the show, we'll also talk about the issue. Speaking of North Carolina, GOP office is vandalized. Plus, we'll talk about NAACP and charter schools and what's up with a black woman who's a doctor can't help a patient on a Delta flight. All of that, News 1 Now on TV 1.